loading zone. Okay. But yeah, had some talks with some.
Can we get a check if folks online can hear us, and then if we can hear you, maybe Rebecca or Tammy, if you could unmute.
I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. We can hear
Yep,
you.
I can hear you too.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're live on YouTube, so Chair, whenever you want to get started.
All right, let's start. This is the November 14th meeting of the Travel Council Advisory Board for Grand County. Let's start with our, well, first of all, we're going to call to order at 3:34. And first item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. I see one gentleman down here.
I'm guessing that might be me.
That would be you. Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
My name is Pete Gross. A bunch of you know me. And I spoke last time, wanted to mention the power of word of mouth advertising. Well, I have a follow-up. My sister called me this morning. We talked about 20 minutes. She's calling from her backyard. She lives in Northwest Los Angeles. And the back of their house is 300 feet from an 8-lane freeway, the 118 freeway. It's at the bottom of San Susana Pass. So you have semis going up, semis coming down. They get about 126,000 vehicles daily on average. And of course, there's more during the day. In the 20 minutes we were talking, she's sitting in the backyard and says, "Do you hear traffic noise?" And like she hears a low hum, that's about it. I've spent many nights at her house visiting my family. And the only thing we really hear is semis and Harley Davidsons, but they don't happen all the time. So while we're talking, I'm sitting in my bedroom where, oh, and they do have a sound wall, so that does help. I'm sitting in my bedroom, and the back of our house is 450 feet from Mill Creek Drive. And while we're talking, I'm hearing them loud enough where I have to listen closer to what she's saying, occasionally just some of the noise. Now, most of that noise, almost all, is from three sources. Off-road vehicles, both motorcycles and UTVs, and modified mufflers of other vehicles. So, and quality of life, our quality of life in Moab has received hundreds, if not thousands of complaints, and I know, well, I'm sort of the instigator of the yard signs that are like this, and there are several hundred of those around town. That's indicative of a lot of people are bothered by that. Certain level of noise is unavoidable. But and then the city and county in response to all these complaints about noise over the years, hired a consultant from Vermont, and let me know if I'm running out of time.
You're good, you got 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's the executive director and co-founder of the Noise Pollution Clearinghouse, the EPA, even because they closed their office, even though it still exists legally. They linked to him as a source of information. The city and county hired him. He helped them rewrite the noise ordinances. In July of 2021, I think both city and county passed new noise ordinances with the intent of targeting loud motor vehicles to address that sound. To date, as far as I know, there hasn't been a single noise ordinance violation citation issued. But so one of the things I want to mention is he also did noise measurement training with the sheriff's department, the police department. Didn't have anybody. Out of some 67, 69 vehicles that passed, 6 out of 27 UTVs and 2 out of 2 motorcycles exceeded the noise level, would have been in violation of the noise ordinance. So one of the things that occurs to me is this is a business opportunity for, actually, Laura, I thought you specifically too, for UTV outfitters is word of mouth advertising. If a couple of the outfitters took the initiative, like, hey, we're the quiet ones, come to us, that would go a long ways towards, bringing the community together and also helping the noise problem. I looked up, there's
Peter, at 1 minute.
Okay, atvsilencer.com markets what they call a silent muffler. It's specifically designed, it's a slip-on muffler specifically designed for hunters who want to take their UTV. They don't want to scare away all the game from, a mile around. So right there, that's an admission that UTVs are loud by design. It doesn't have to be that way. Oh, and these slip-on mufflers, $189. And the company even mentions in their promotion that But you can easily remove them and ready to hit the trail, so you can direct mode, have fun being loud. And that's at the expense of all the people when they're driving through town. So my suggestion is I would love to see, and maybe the Travel Council Advisory Board can encourage the outfitters with UTVs, like, hey, here's a business opportunity. You could be the quiet one, and you will get a lot of positive feedback. So anyway, that was my point. I thank you for your time and apologize for making so much noise about noise.
Thank you, Pete.
That was a responsibility.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for your time.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, any other citizens? Have you heard anybody online?
Check out the website when we talk about quiet in Lewis.
Rebecca, Tammy, no?
I have
don't see.
not admitted anyone new.
I didn't do it
Okay.
right then. I probably-
All right, we'll head to the next agenda item then, and that is introductions. Allie, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Allie Harford. I'm the new Assistant Marketing Director in Economic Development. I kind of specialize or focus in our social media and industry partnerships. So that's like relationships with media and journalists. And I previously worked at the Moab Sun News for about 2.5 years.
Fantastic.
She'll be working on a lot of the FAMs and with our media partners on the FAMs and hosting the FAMs and doing a lot of the platform tourism content. So excited to have her on board.
I'm too.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thanks.
If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Great. Okay, let's do board member reports. Let's start online. Rebecca, let's start with you.
Hello guys, this is Rebecca with the Element Moab. Our October was really great. November is actually looking better than usual. But it's beginning to die off a little bit and head into the really slow season. Not much going on right now. We have some December holiday parties in our meeting space. But other than that, we're just decorating for Christmas and getting in the holiday spirit.
Sweet. Alex?
Hi, I'm Alex from 98 Center and SPACU, board member, vice chair. Yeah, November was a good month for us. We had definitely some record days, but still looking at our last fall, we were open was 2022, and we're actually still slower than, less volume than October of 22, which I was surprised.
So
But-
October is lower, but November's.
Well, November's still been, obviously not all the numbers are in for November yet, but some of our weekends are good. Folk Fest is a huge weekend for us. Yeah, it's like we're the closest place. So that was a really good weekend, and it rained. So it brings everybody in, obviously. Yeah, it's been solid. I can't really say much else besides, business has been good. It's not like insanely busy. It's not bad. Just kind of like a strong average. So,
And you got your outside open for the.
yeah, outside's up and running, which is awesome. So, we're really excited to have that through the spring, like a full year of that, not just like a couple months of it. So, yeah, that's all I've got.
Sure.
Slowing down a lot. We're, most of my seasonals are done already. I still have some on until Thanksgiving. But I'm sure everyone's heard by now the 2025 time entry will be doing another pilot next year.
Different.
But it is different. So between July 7th and August 27th, there will be no timed entry reservation required. Since those are, pardon?
When will it be? I didn't hear.
July 7th through August 27th,
Oh, so during
the slow months. There
We
will
can
be,
talk about that now?
Huh?
We can talk about that now?
well, it's been a press release, so.
Okay, cool.
5:30, there's a meeting in the Grand Center for anyone who'd like to
Yeah.
participate.
So that's what they're gonna try this time. Since those are the slow months, they're, like all this last summer, they could walk in and get a reservation as soon as they walked into the MEC, we can get them a reservation. So there was always reservations available all day long. So that's what they're gonna try this time. That's about it. Slowing down, winding down. I can't believe it's November.
Do you know what days of the week those dates correspond to? July 7th or?
Well, that would be,
I'll look it up. I was just
Yeah,
curious if you
it's-
knew off the top of your head.
um,
It feels so specific.
Well, it's because they had to get to the 4th of July.
get
Independence
through
Day
the 4th
holiday
of July and then
Prior.
before
We're gonna go
Labor
by
Day.
Monday.
It's just, yeah, so it's a Monday to a Sunday.
Great.
Catherine.
Cassie Oliver, Moab Chamber. We had our banquet on Saturday and it went really well. Thank you to everyone who participated, whether through attendance or donations. It was great. I haven't heard anyone complain yet. If you have a complaint, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. And then we have the electric light parade coming up. So if you want to be involved in that, that is up on our website where you can register, do a float, things like that. So
Oh, I do have to mention one more thing.
Mhm.
CNHA is the nonprofit of the year.
yes.
Yes.
I saw a
CNHA
few
is
photos
not-
with someone who was recognized. Congratulations.
We can get you guys some pictures if you want.
That'd be great.
Pictures, yeah. And Georgia Russell was Citizen of the Year
Yes.
and Sunset Grill was Business of the Year.
Nice.
And Georgia cried and cried.
She did, yeah. It was really
So
sweet.
deserving though.
Oh, yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
That's
Really
good.
good.
Laura?
Lori McFarland, High Point Hummer and ATV. Just wanted to piggyback on what Sharon was talking about. If anyone would like to attend the National Park presentation, it's at the Grand Center today, I think 5:30 to 7:30. They did a Zoom yesterday that was not well attended. It was only about 16 people.
Our team is there.
Yeah, we're a
16.
quarter of the
There
participants,
you
I guess.
go. There you go.
Way to represent
Now you
guys.
know.
Yeah.
And that's all I've got.
How was your business? Did you comment how October was?
Down just as planned. Yeah, we're trying to beat 2019 numbers still.
Are you guys still doing some things for November?
Oh, we're open. We're definitely open.
So if someone
and
wants to do a Hummer,
We're ready to go, ready to have fun, but looking forward to the promotion spend. Looking forward to improving that so that everybody in the town, all the ships can rise. It's all good.
What do you want to know from me?
Anything that you would like to share.
Assistant Marketing Director. What can I share? We met with Simpleview and we're rolling out the new website. We had our kickoff call and discovery
Big
meetings
deal.
with data and design.
No big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was the board introductions or what have you. So that project has started. We've given them assets like photos and information. Their teams are now going back and going to give us presentations on what this will look like. And we'll get those in the new year. And we're moving towards a midsummer launch. You know, full calendar, a very big team, very experienced, and so far so good. Allie and I are the points on that. So
Launch middle of next year.
yeah.
Okay.
And I have a calendar. If you'd like to see nitty gritty.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh, I can talk for.
I'll point it out in a minute.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to you, Ben.
Yeah.
Let's skip over.
Yeah.
Okay, Mary?
And I've asked Ben to help me with this as well. The Economic Opportunity Board has been really working hard to see how we can coordinate and make sure that Trail to Tomorrow doesn't become something that just sits on a desk, sits in a thing. So we've been taking it and looking at action plans and ways to move forward to implement and help, improve, the economy in Moab, which is predominantly tourism, of course. And so there's such a correlation between the Economic Opportunity Department, Board, and this board that we have a small group, so we don't have a quorum working on this Trail to Tomorrow, and we want to coordinate it with the general plan. So it's kind of complicated. But at one point, and we could discuss this later, or I can get feedback now, would, some people like to be, we would like to have a member from this board on that small working group, if anyone's interested. And then at some point, I think it would be really important for both boards, once we get it kind of flushed out and kind of get ideas, to come together and, with the whole board and flush it out. Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, that was,
That's
and,
perfect.
yes, so, we've had one meeting. It was a long one, where we're, trying to figure out how to, enhance the section of the general plan that talks about economy. It's fairly small right now, but we think that's probably should be a pretty hefty, strong general plan for both. And the other thing that was discussed is that we think we haven't done a good job of letting our ordinary citizens know the benefits they're getting from tourism. That there are things in our community that are being driven by, that aren't directly tourism related, but are better and stronger than a town or a county this population size because of tourism. For an example, our hospital. You wouldn't have all these specialists. You wouldn't have somebody in a town, 5,000. You would, and a county of under 10. You wouldn't have the dynamic hospital we have.
Absolutely.
That's a big benefit. And we're talking, maybe I don't know if I'm going on to them, but I think what we want to work on this year is to maybe work on a program that we get it out there and start, those kind of slow down the whiners and say, yeah, there's times in the year that you can't turn left and there's this, but you have a choice of really dynamic restaurants that you wouldn't have if you were in a town like Sizen or North Dakota or South Dakota. We have, you can have almost anything you need done at this hospital, which doesn't happen in other hospitals. And trying to bring the community closer together through promoting the fact that tourism is our driving economy, but it also brings other assets to us that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I can't remember what was the term they used for that,
Well, I can't remember what the term they used, but we spoke to Jeremy Sage a few days ago, just Melissa and I, and he was part of the Better Destinations team that put together our Trail to Tomorrow plan. The way he phrased it was the indirect, the indirect and the induced from the tourism economy. And so we have things like the strength of our hospital that you might not find in some other rural communities. It's not a direct or maybe even not an indirect impact, but certainly induced by our tourism economy. So absolutely related.
So anyway, I'm excited, between now and Christmas, probably not a whole lot's going to get done, but as the new year begins, I really see some synergy towards working together as these boards. We have to have the Economic Opportunity Board in order to go for those grants. But in so many ways, we're working on the same thing because our economy is tourism predominantly. So I'd like to see a way that we are working closer. So if anybody's interested in being on that team, email me or Ben.
I'm happy to do it.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Anybody else?
No competition.
Feel
Oh,
free.
we can have
The more the merrier.
now.
Yeah, we don't really need.
Well, I'm already part of it through the,
Yep.
Because you're
but
on-
I can represent this board there.
Okay, well, and this is just a small working group. I'm a non-voting member.
Main thing is to keep it from being a quorum, so we'll manage that, but yeah,
But-
raise your hand.
So Brian, we will.
Okay.
So, okay,
Brian.
My pleasure.
and we're working on as far as county, taking my Economic Opportunity Board hat off, is just working on our budget. It's huge. So that's it.
I don't think I have anything to report. If Ben, when he does his report, if he's got something he wants me to elaborate on, I'm glad to. I think Mary did a great job summing up what's going on with our other governing board.
Okay. Stephen, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. Anything for the group? No? Okay. For Red Cliffs, I wasn't here last month, sorry. As most of you are well aware, we're starting renovations. September was actually, I'll say kind of like Alex, they were good months. However, comparatively, occupancy-wise, year over year, September and October were less than the year before, the previous 2 years, to be completely honest. However, revenue-wise, we've gotten better at that, and we've done about the same, if not a little bit better. So that was good. We've seen tremendous pickup in our restaurants, our activities and tours, things like that. We've gotten a ton of press from FAMs that we've hosted, which I think has kind of benefited everyone, that were sponsored by the Utah Tourism Office of Tourism. We've seen a lot of press. We got a really nice piece in CNN Travel about haunted tourism that was picked up to almost 44 million readers. We published a book, which is a haunted tour book for Red Cliffs Lodge. And then we had a Paranormal Explorer package that we ran as part of that, which was super successful. We started advertising September 1st, and it's only good through the end of this month, and we've booked almost 1,400 room nights with that, which includes just basically a copy of the book, which talks about our local guardians on property. I mean, it's hard to say that you don't have spirits when you have a graveyard at the entrance to your property. That did really well. And then on top of that, at the beginning of October, we were very fortunate to place as the number 15 Mountain West Resort by the readers of Condé Nast Magazine. So we were super excited to get that award. Huge. We had 75,000 people vote for us. And I think we're the only property in southeastern Utah that made the list. So very proud of that. As I stated, as of Monday, Veterans Day, we have started our transition. We are becoming part of the Marriott family. So you now can book Red Cliffs on Marriott.com starting December 16th. That is our white label date. You can now get Bonvoy points if you book at Marriott.com. We will go through the winter. It's a renovation of the rooms, basically inside. The outside of the buildings don't change really. The lodge is going under a major renovation inside, not the outside, and that's going to probably take much longer to do. So we are currently, we're still doing our operations. By December 4th, we will only have our 30 cabins through the winter. And then we will be serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner out of the Bronco building. Bronco is actually having their best November ever since they started their school, which is good. But they've had a really soft year other than that.
That's September, is that what you said?
November, their best November that they've ever had. Star reporting, just because we have a bunch of different properties, we kind of see it. Kind of the same trend, like occupancy actually was up for September for most of Grand County, which was nice to see. However, ADRs have plummeted for most of Grand County, which makes sense. I mean, everybody's trying to get more business and book things, but RevPAR is definitely down. People are not spending as much on restaurants and tours and activities. At least that's what we're seeing from the STAR data that we're seeing. But all in all, I want to feel like the effort that we put into what we've all been doing this year has kind of worked. We're getting where we need to be. But I also know that that's also a lot of properties are doing their own things like us when it comes to advertising and stuff to kind of build that up. So that's it. That's all I've got.
Can you send us a link to the CNN Travel?
Yeah, absolutely. I can send you a bunch of articles that there's some really good. We've been featured in Wall Street Journal, travel and leisure, men's health. We've had probably 20 major news organizations that have published articles about Red Cliffs or just basically Grand County, Moab in general in the last 2 months. So I'll be more than happy to distribute to everybody. We've gotten great press, so good stuff to see.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Do you have a PR agent?
we do. We use a public PR company. They're called B Public Relations. Out of B, but just the letter B, BPR. And they are out of Denver. They do an amazing job for us. And we're incredibly happy to be working with them.
Yeah, side note, 36 Hours in Moab with New York Times is through Moab, and we were featured one of the restaurants. So
You don't have a press agent. That's major.
Yeah, I was so excited when I read that. I think I sent it to you immediately.
yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, I had some like my
Going to
some
New
friends.
York Times and
Yeah,
it's-
some friends from Maggie's are like, oh wow, like I know that place. So
I got calls about it too.
yeah,
Very cool.
nice.
Okay. Next agenda item, Ben, over to you.
Brian, I am a Gold Elite Envoy member, so when I come in, I expect to be.
You'll get the upgrade to the
I
cabin,
want the
sir.
bottled water. Yeah, I just got back from Utah Office of Tourism Sales Mission, which was also kind of a state delegation to meet with, follow up with the Southern Region of France guys that we met with in January. So I'll get to that in a minute. This was a group that included Kanab, Cedar City, Bryce, Visit Salt Lake, and then the Director of State Parks, Scott Strong, who was at the event in January. The target was France, Belgium, and Netherlands. So first day was in Nice. We presented to 20 travel and trade directors. This was the presentation model where you all get called up and present your piece, and then you spend the lunch visit talking with the different, mingling with the different trade and media people. I took the strategy into the whole mission was, yeah, we know that you guys come here for 2 days or 2.7 national parks visits, and then it's on to the next, but there's a lot more to do here. So extended stay, and I pivoted on the dark sky. The dark sky gives you another reason that you might want to have another night here. So the whole discussion was trying to extend the stay, asking for feedback. Like you get people coming back saying, I wish I knew there was, all these other things to do there, which they do. So tried to talk a lot about the fact we have everything from equestrian, that you don't have to raft down these great rivers, you can. But we have jet boats, we have UTV tours, where you can rent UTVs, the biking, of course, the hiking, then the extreme sports. So that was kind of just that strategy of lengthening that average length of stay mentality, which everybody is doing right now. After the first day, and this was largely because of the state parks piece of it, we went to the Prealps, which is way up, not the high usage like we have. In fact, the road, getting a bus up there was kind of sketchy at certain points, but we met with their rangers over the top, had a lot of talk about best practices, how they do things up there. They're kind of their trekkers, which are backpacker models versus day hikers versus day users. One of the things that they have conflict with is those are public lands for sheep grazing. So a lot of times it's educating a hiker that when two Great Pyrenees come look at you because they're protecting the herd, they own that space. You go around, you don't challenge the dogs. And so everyone has their own thing to deal with in these different areas. From there, we went to Marseille, did the same thing. It was another presentation. Then we were hosted at a state park, which is in their museum, and it's basically a replica. It's based on what they found in the late 90s, which are sea caves that a diver found. What they realized in these sea caves, in the dry parts of them, where they could come up and get on the beach, is primitive man had been there. So it's very much like one of our archaeological sites. So they've recreated this in a museum that you can see what is out in the entryway to the Bay of Marseille. So that was interesting. From there, went to the Southern France delegation and met in their offices. This is a follow-up to where Lori, Brian, Mary, was anyone else at that meeting in January? So we met with that team. The president wasn't there, but he was represented by his, just from this room, I was wondering. Then we watched their presentation. They are very much trying to dial down and understand their visitation model. They're talking about the exact same things we are, the stewardship versus the volume, trying to get average length of stay extended. They're looking at it as like a hotel. You don't have to do the changeover. It's the lower carbon footprint. They were very interested in what we're doing with our ambassador program, how it ties in with the Red Emerald program with the stewardship piece. They are definitely looking at the same issues of people coming through versus stopping to spend. So they're trying to monetize their visitor. They too have a winter shoulder season that they're trying to bump up. So their whole campaign and this was a pivot campaign that they worked on, is they're playing up winter is the new spring. So they're trying to get the message out to the rest of Europe that come to southern France in the winter. It's a different climate. We're not as busy, better hotel rooms rates and things like that. So I will try and get that presentation. And what I'd like to do is I don't want to just have these things where the TCAB is the only audience. So we're looking at how to use the economic development website to create a research portal where we get these presentations that any of the suppliers in Moab and Grand County can go on that and understand what we're learning. Coming down from the pre-Alps, we stopped in a primitive village called Gillette, and it's one that looks like it's kind of under maybe being refurbed, but they're totally designing it around the dark sky model. You get out of Marseille and it's the first place that you can really see the stars. Everything there is built for dark sky, and the time change and stuff by 6 o'clock, you figure you're in the darkest place, So it was interesting to see that they're playing that really hard too. From there, we went to Belgium, actually had lunch with the ambassador from the U.S. To Belgium. The night before, we had dinner with the consulate general from the U.S. to France, who, long story short, spent a few hours in Thompson waiting for her parents one time when she was in college, and thought she might be living in Thompson if they didn't show up. It was a pre-cell phone area, so we had fun with that. When we got to Belgium, it became the speed dating model where you present to each person individually, and that was a little bit better of a feedback loop because we could have more of a back and forth conversation. In these meetings, a lot of them talked about how, most of them work with the receptive. So, in our office, we're going to get a lot smarter about dealing with the receptives as well as just the planners. But first trip for a lot of these people, their loop will start in LA, and they make it as far as Capitol Reef and stay in the Salt Lake loop. So they see Zion, Capitol Reef, and Bryce. For a lot of these tour planners, we're getting these people on the second trip. So that's a good data point because we'd like to get them on the first trip. So if there's a way to go after that market, we will do that. So we did, I think we met with 22 operators there. From there, we went to the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, that night, we had dinner with the consulate general, which are the career diplomat people from the U.S., who had talked about the soccer game that was going on. You might have read about it, and that they were worried about protests. The mayor had said no protesting. Well, that night, they had the riots. They were right outside my hotel room, very disturbing. I can tell you about it outside of here, but that was interesting to be in the middle of that. And a little disturbing. In those meetings, we had 2 sessions. I believe by the end, I met individually with 40 people. A couple takeaways. The dark skies thing is huge for all of them. There's some people that in the Netherlands, a woman-owned organization that is creating a ski tour group. And so they would love us to help work with them on a winter itinerary, getting their ski tours down here during their ski trips. So we'll be coming to you with that. We're trying to get them over here for a FAM. The feedback from people who have been on FAMs, everyone remembered Red Cliff, spoke very highly of it. 98 Center, some of the restaurants. Again, we were trying to explain there's 10 days worth of stuff to do on our location. So that was pretty much the extent of it. A really good presentation from the Belgian team about differences between Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, the state of their governments, how their currency plays, and how that's affecting their tourism model. So that's another one we'll get posted once we have it. We can post it on our website, create a research portal for everyone. In addition to that, yes, we had the Simple View kickoff. The first meeting, we had the whole procurement team, but I have to hand it off to Allison and Nick. They've been champions and run with this and have had all the meetings. I saw the update from Simple View. The project is on track because they're giving us a dashboard. These guys have worked very hard on that, so kudos to them. Jason's not here, but yesterday we had our first meeting with the airport, for that airport advertising, that 25K that they're talking about. That is being discussed and the best way to go about it. Nick and Ali already gave them one opportunity with TravelZoo. Maybe the right one, may not, but at least they're being presented with opportunities. The best way to figure out how to market Contour. I followed up, Riley, the person from Contour, was there, and I said, based back on the meeting we had, I believe it was in February, I looked back at my notes, that they were going to start understanding what they were trying to do. Was it brand awareness? Was it certain other things? They were also talking about 10 rewards tickets that's still in play, I believe. So we have the opportunity to help them promote with that, maybe.
What are the rewards?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Like they have 10 sets of tickets that they could give out as a contest or free
okay.
tickets. One thing I've asked, and I don't think we have yet, but I would like to see their employment numbers because that program kicked off beginning of February. I'm sure there was a ramp up, but it'd be nice to know what their
I think it's
employments
been
are.
pretty down.
Are they down? And I think I'd like to know, and this shouldn't be hard,
Yeah.
is what's the local versus visitor model on those plans?
I
Do you know what it is?
like local versus visitor, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
I've got emails that have some of the director's reports on the
Okay.
appointments.
Yeah, we're asking for it directly
Significantly
from
down
Contour. Yeah.
Significantly down since Contour is here, which
Okay.
they have limited
Do they
Yeah.
have 2 planes coming a day or just 1?
too, but only to Phoenix.
And then SkyWest had 2
Yeah,
from Denver and then one
And
from
Salt
Salt Lake.
yeah.
So that was much better.
That reminds me, the beauty of that Southern France, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg model is it's mainly a fly drive model. So they're coming into LA and picking up a car, Las Vegas, and some are coming to Salt Lake. So by the time they get here, they're coming on their own. And planned correctly, they could do that extra day or that extra 2 days. So
Mhm.
that's a place we could really market to those different tour operators that, and I know IPW, we met a lot of them there. Those receptives, we should start having those conversations. ITB will be there as part of the state team with the German representatives. So they will fill our meeting plot. So we won't have any missed meetings there. And we'll start presenting that bigger destination model as well. So I think that for me, that's the report.
Perfect. Okay. Do you got anything for the group? We just finished. All right.
Hi, I'm Viga. I'm the Film Commission Director for the Moab Tamaki Valley Film Commission. Do I have anything for the group? No, I've had a good couple weeks. Things are pending. It's supposed to be a slow time, and it's been a slow year. And I just got a really big call with the board of AFCI, the Association of Film Commissioners International, and the advisory board, which are all the streaming. They said things are looking up across the globe for 2025. And I'm talking about major streaming platforms and studios are all under the same. It's been a really interesting couple of years. So the things seem to be looking up, and I've had some good events locally. It's been really fun. Delta is flying back out of Grand Junction now to Salt Lake, which is a good change for some of the film people that need to get a little bit closer. Because people do like flying in from there, based on what you were just talking about. Starting December 3rd, they're doing Junction to Salt Lake again. I think that's it for me.
Great.
I have one other thing. On the 18th now, this has been changed several times, but we're told that Ryan Starks from the Government Office of Economic Opportunity will be visiting our office in his 24 and 24 plan, which is to see 24 counties in rural counties in Utah in 2024.
You can't get the last 5.
I don't know if he needs to or what. It may be Salt Lake. You may see them every day, but they planned it for November 5th. I believe that was a Tuesday, and I told them when they were planning it, like, "Are you sure you're going to come that day?" No, that's not a problem for us. And so we had a big meeting, and then they figured out there was something going on that day, so they canceled. And we just got the word that they're now tentatively coming on the 18th of December. So Ben and I are scrambling to get dialed back in and figure out, okay, what do you want the agenda to be? And they kind of gave us what they thought, and we kind of gave them what we thought, and they didn't totally mesh. But as we know more, we will publicize that out. Just so you know, that's coming. We will probably be coming to see some or all of you in one way or the other, because they're going to want to see things like the chamber, the school system, stuff we talked about. So I just know that that's an opportunity that's coming. May get canceled again, but hopefully that's the day.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Next agenda item, would someone like to, hopefully everybody read the meeting minutes from last meeting? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Just really quick on that. The adjourn time is wrong because it says 3:05.
So can we make a motion to amend the meeting minutes to say 5:05?
I'm assuming too.
Thank you. Yep. 5:05.
Okay. So pending the timing issues, any other changes? Anyone want to make a motion?
To approve the meeting minutes from the October 8th.
Cassie makes motion. Any second? Sharon seconds. All in approval? Aye. Rebecca?
Aye.
Okay, unanimously passes. Fantastic.
I have a question because I didn't realize previously with someone in the organization doing the minutes before our office was. Can we go back to that?
Ben volunteered to do it last month.
Oh, did you? Oh. Oh, man.
Sorry, did I throw you under the bus? Sorry.
Good to know. Okay, we're good.
Sorry.
Look at the time.
Hey, I mean, he volunteered. I said I'd be more than happy to have you do that. Next agenda item, finalization of fiscal year 25 budget advisory letter. That is in the packets I've passed out. That is the next thing. Basically, this is the big event. It's the one thing we got to do every year, people. So really, I think.
Is this a repurposing of the previous?
No, you have the wrong one. You went this one. I put the logo on top. That's 2024 is in there just as reference.
2023 is in there for reference.
So,
okay.
Sorry, 2023.
So this is this one right here. Okay.
Correct. You went this one.
Okay, I think I have it.
This one.
Yes, it's 3 pages long. So today, really, we have basically an hour and 15 minutes to talk about mitigation. The establishment and promotion, so advertising and promotion, basically, I think that we've all been in agreement. That is spelled out from our previous discussions and our previous sub-meetings of the budget subcommittee that we did. It is all there. I have combined certain things. So rather than just list out every trade show, there's just like trade shows and a dollar amount, but it spells it out. Last night, Gabe sent me the updated TRT and TRCCA numbers. So that is an updated number. It has gone up slightly compared to what we were given previously. And then, I don't know, we might want to check my math because I did this at like 2:30 in the morning to make sure that I got the percentages correctly. But I really just kind of want to open up please everybody take a minute to read it if you haven't already. Yes, ma'am, here you go. Yes, sure.
Is the mix supposed to be in these, or is the mix come out of a different? I think it isn't it TRCC, TRCCA.
Got that transfer, we don't give your number, but
Oh, so
we
it comes
should go
through.
follow.
It
I
comes
know
through the
that
tribal
does
council?
come out of that. There is a transfer out that number.
In the 2023 letter that I included in the packet, Nick was called out TRCCA funds 2024 priorities. It was
Right.
one of two priorities. It's usually
Sorry,
2 times I've been
Sharon.
around them all.
This is a pretty
We're
important,
we're just hearing you out.
even though they don't like you giving out the phone number.
Huh?
Even though they don't like you passing out the phone number.
Actually, I'd like to triple it. but-
Could I make a comment?
Mhm.
I reached out to Steve and he kindly agreed to attend this meeting. When I was going through the minutes, I know there was at least one question about possible funding for the Grant Center. So I think if we have those questions, we'll want to make sure we get it out today while Steven's here with us.
Perfect. Should we just start with questions? I'm sure everybody has questions. Let's start with the Grand Center. Steven.
It's not even it's not even on here, so it doesn't need to get questioned.
No, but I think everybody would just like
But
to
it comes
know
out of that 30.
from a clarification standpoint.
It comes out of that 30.
Only if we recommend it. I mean, they can do whatever they
It
want.
hasn't been recommended.
So just by way of background for everyone, so just so everyone knows, we're still waiting on the state auditor's office on this issue. So what I'm saying is there's the caveat that we're still working with them. We appreciate their time that they've given to us to kind of talk about the issues surrounding TRT and how we look at moving forward with the expenditures. And so where we're at with the communications that we've had with Auditor Dougal, how we're utilizing those funds is Auditor Dougal's office, in our last discussions, and again, this hasn't been finalized, they've looked at a methodology of allowing us to spend up to 55% of the facility would be eligible for the TRCCA spending. 45% would not be. And that was a middle ground that the state auditor's office gave us and said that that was something that could be spent on that amount, and it would be up to that 55%. And so this is something that we're in negotiations with. That's what's in the last draft letter that we sent out. And we provided that letter on November 4th after the Grand County Commission approved Jacques and I to do the finalized touches on that.
Okay.
So that's what it does on that piece.
Any other questions around that? No?
Specifically on the Grand Center
Or anything else?
or anything else? Would be supposed to be in this TRCCA somewhere?
No, we have to add Sharon in, because that's an oversight by me, sorry. You were in there originally, I just didn't cut and paste.
Whatever.
And
I knew you
Sure.
meant Sharon.
I'll swear.
Cut her. And then what about OSTA?
yeah,
Is it just,
So OSTA is in the, or that's up here in conventions. So, where is it?
Yeah, it falls within one of the statutory, if that's what the board wants to make recommendations
it
for.
falls under TRT, not TRCCA.
It can be under TRT for a convention center.
Mhm.
Also,
Costa.
Oh, right there.
Any thoughts on
Oh, it's
the
still
rec
here.
center?
Okay.
Throw it out there. How's everybody feel about the rec center?
Rec center?
Just to recap, I think that
The pool.
Isn't that city?
Well, we pay, the
It is.
city manages it, correct?
Mhm.
And the county pays the
Oh,
bond. It's been the agreement for a long time.
I will say that most of the feedback that I've been getting from just the public in general and other business owners has been that they would love to see more synergy between the county and the city. And like particularly with EMS, I think has become up quite a bit. I don't know if there was a whole program to like rally support for EMS, but
Yeah.
the rec centers come up, roads have come up quite a bit. Definitely EMS has come up. I think that they feel as if there's not enough, I don't know,
Support behind them.
yeah, between the two. So,
Yeah, I feel like the rec center, I mean, that's certainly, if you want to like get to the community in terms of, this is what, these are the things that enhance the community, like rec center is a huge thing. And yeah, it seems like the city really needs some help since it's kind of, it needs, the facility needs help. So,
for sure.
yeah,
It's.
It's definitely a tourism sector, because that's where a lot of the
They're
van
mostly
life
for
showers,
showers.
Oh, yeah.
all the
yeah.
Swimming
Well, it's
campers,
like in the
showers.
summertime, that's where all the family, all the kids go. I mean, it's like a huge part of,
We send everyone there to do showers mostly.
yeah.
Yeah, so it really serves the community and the tourists. It's a.
Yeah.
Cassie, you had your hand up?
I just, with the rec center, my one concern that I've heard from people when I've talked about this is their hours are not really friendly for our locals and probably not for our tourists too. So, and I don't know if that's a budget thing or if that's something else. So that, I think that's something that, we would maybe ask them to look into, like, could they, in this summer, could they extend their swim hours to later in the evening? Is there a way they could do that to make it, it's mainly the swimming time, like kids like to swim, swim till 8 or 9 o'clock. I remember doing that as a kid, so that would be one of my,
Well, that's one of the complaints we get from the visitors is they would like to, go to the parks and stuff, and then by the time they get back from there, have dinner, then the pool's closed. So
I
they can't
remember
do
the
that.
pool used to stay open till like 9 o'clock. I loved it. That's when I'd go swimming.
Well, my
But it's been a
daughter
long
worked at
time
the
since
community
I've done
center in Sturgis, and she worked till 10 o'clock at night.
yeah, that's what I.
Staffing.
probably-
Well, you said it's gotta be staffing.
Definitely staffing, I mean,
They can't keep enough.
they just can't keep enough, and,
This lifeguard's gotta be trained.
I mean, the desk person is, right, can't watch the pool.
And they've had such a low staff this year that oftentimes they'd have to close either the inside pool or the outside pool. So it's not, sometimes I think it's less money and more just bodies to fill the needs.
Right, which is probably pay rate and
Which
budget.
budget could help with
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Okay.
I do have another quick question. What's the guest guide for 8.1 thousand?
That's the Moab, guy, Lori's in it, it's a local,
Susie Masters.
Susie
Is it
Masterson,
but
yeah.
Susie publishes that.
Right, but we pay to get in it and print it.
Oh, okay.
And so we're part of it, we advertise in it. And kind of the thing I've talked to her about is until they quit running out of them, it seems like a good thing. 'Cause it seems counterintuitive that a print material like that is, that they run out everywhere, so.
Oh, no,
it's
yeah,
an
we
internet.
run out.
But we're in it, we advertise in it, and get articles.
Okay.
Because it helps us get articles of attraction to put in.
Sharon, back to you, sorry. What would you need budget-wise?
Well, there's a number on it's an agreement,
Yeah.
and I'm,
Did we try to make it a 5-year? Or did we
no,
make it
it's
just-
still only a 2-year. And I can't, right off the top of my head, remember how much that we get from
It will be the same
TRCCA.
as last year, though. Yeah.
Yes, it'll be
Ben,
the
do you
same
have
as last
access
year.
to it?
Because it used to be two different things, numbers, and then they just combine the numbers on their
Okay.
the last 2 years ago.
Is it 10K? Was that the number?
Huh?
Was it 10K?
Oh, no, it's
More?
more than
More?
that. It's like 55,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was like 55, 60 something.
55,
Last year's
something.
I can go-
list had specific
I can go-
addresses.
Sure, and I can go back and make it Excel.
Yeah, it's,
We need
it's
to
like,
right now. I can read it and come
I
back.
mean, before we walk out of here, we need to reach an agreement so we can sign this, because
Well, I go and see what the
Monday.
Excel number was for
Yeah.
last year.
that'd be great.
If I can see. or I'll
it was
go
like
ask
55, something, something,
Yeah,
something.
Gabe's still in.
Okie dokie. All right, so Mick need to get in there. Rec center is on the table. I think everybody seems to feel good about that. Let's talk mitigation, people, and assigning numbers.
I have one more question.
Yes.
The numbers
Since that's
are
already been gone through. Is there any possibility that we can know where the inventory of billboards are?
That was on our notes as yes, Ben was gonna look into that. So, for sure, I don't know, Mick, do you know?
There are 3 on I-70, and there's one.
I know, like a map, if we can look at a map of where they are, so we can, it'll make a difference.
They're at Crescent Junction, in Grand Junction, and then there are 2 in town.
But none in Cedar City.
On the I-15 corridor.
Not that I'm aware of it.
I saw one in Cedar City, it says recreate responsibly only.
In Cedar City? Really?
With Discover Moab.
So maybe it's somebody else.
Did it, yeah, did it say
So
Discover
they're
Moab?
probably doing something like that over there too, I wouldn't be surprised.
Recreate responsibly in Moab.
Oh, in
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Moab.
I mean,
In Cedar
I'll get a
City.
picture of it,
Yeah, I'd love to see it,
but it sure
actually.
would be nice if we had an idea of what was.
55?
55,375, and it's been that way for the last 5
Okay.
years.
What was it?
55,375.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I think
Does that
2
include the
years
hand
ago.
dryer? Or do you know where you saw it in Cedar City?
But we could always use
Like
it.
we're in town?
I'll take a picture of it. I have a friend
We're
who
always
lives
in
there,
bed.
yeah.
There was a question about billboards, and I said I'm aware of 3 on I-70.
Me too.
2 in town.
I know.
Lori said there might be 1 in.
Isn't there one coming out of Grand Junction?
Yeah, that's one of the 3, but I'm only aware of 5.
I will get a picture of Cedar City.
That's interesting.
If you want more, we get called from everybody on I-70 trying to sell us billboards, just so you know. So if you want one in Denver,
How much do they cost?
they're not cheap. They're, I think that one would have been 80,000 a year.
One billboard, 80,000 a year.
We pay
But I mean, you think about the
55,000.
numbers of people driving by,
Ours
I just don't know what the
Salt Lake.
traction ROI on that is.
It's hard to.
What's that?
We pay $55,000 a year for ours in Salt Lake, which is a 7-second blip, 20 times a day on a digital board, but it's expensive.
20 times a day.
And you don't know how effective billboards are.
I mean, we just by people like, yeah, we saw your billboard, which we get a lot.
And that's why they came.
And then we've also, I mean, we deliberately move our markets every 2 years, and we've avoided Salt Lake for the last 2 years. And we can correspondingly see what the money we throw into the market versus how many bookings we get from it. So it pays off.
It does.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because I didn't know if there was a way to figure that out.
We give them back almost 28,000 plus all over.
Okay, so I just for, I put the big 5 buckets in our emergency EMS, law enforcement, trash, water, road into mitigation. Any traditionally last year over $5 million, or close to $5 million, goes all to law enforcement. There was no emergency EMS allocation in, $400,000 for trash, nothing for water last year, nothing for road.
Solid waste.
Solid waste.
Anyway,
You don't want to call it trash.
yeah, that's
Search and rescue, are they in underneath law enforcement or EMS, or are they their own thing?
They're their own thing.
Okay. How are they on funding?
I would imagine that they are in the same position that the emergency EMS is.
They have the highest
No,
call
the
outs.
emergency EMS
Is it the same?
Yeah.
The emergency EMS has that special sales tax that is divided between the health district, the senior center, and EMS.
So,
And so we passed that tax quite a few years ago. Every year they talk about, which was a shame, they didn't go for the full amount when they did the bond, when they asked the voters to vote for it.
mhm.
And every year they talk about going back up.
So-
Every year seems to not be a year to do it.
So this year, I believe Alex, myself, and Ben got a email from the emergency EMS team, basically saying that they do not have enough funding for more than one ambulance, which seems pretty ridiculous in Moab Grand County. Their cost, they say, is $380,000 to fully fund an ambulance for the year. Cost of the vehicle and for emergency services for the two that they have.
Mhm.
They're requesting another 380. Is the way I read that email.
I thought it was 160.
Was it? Do you have the email? Pull it up.
Well, it's interesting because
They want to get 2 new ambulances because the ones they operate are 20 years old. And
Yeah.
they would love for us to purchase one for the year, if I
so,
recall.
and how much did you say it was?
I'm gonna look it up right now, but I feel like it's 160.
I know it's interesting because the EMS used to be a department in the county.
Mhm.
And they lobbied strongly, very strongly, because there's a lot of resistance because special service districts have their own issues. They kind of, and they lobbied saying that if they could be their own district, they would be able to more easily handle the finances. So it's interesting that less than 10 years later, they're asking
For money now.
for money now.
Yeah,
when that
sorry, I was wrong. Yeah, Brian was right. So an ambulance itself costs $250,000. The cot itself costs $60,000. Cardiac and patient monitor, $40,000. They've secured a $100,000 grant. We are requesting $350,338 from TRT funds to cover the cost of one ambulance.
So wonder how much that would affect the others. Have did you
Yeah, they
ask,
have-
did you ask them if they've tried for CIB? Because CIB has always been very good to our EMS.
I don't know about CIV, but I can just read you the letter that they
Or do
sent
you
out.
want to forward it to me?
Yeah,
That might be easier.
yeah, basically, their patient revenue is significantly constrained by state of Utah's maximum ambulance billing rates. Basically, people they're getting their insurance, their insurance companies just don't want to pay for their services. And then basically EMS and they just get screwed out of having, stuck with the bills. So,
And it's hard, especially foreigners, anybody that is not to get money. I mean, the insurance issue is a very much of a issue in
For sure.
ambulance, getting funded for. So it's a search and rescue.
Which is different. Search and rescue is a whole entirely different
Yeah,
thing.
but I
They
mean-
all show up to save people. They don't
And
have
yet-
funding either, right? Do they?
Who does pay for search and
Who
rescue?
pays for search and rescue?
Sheriff's Department does?
A lot of it's volunteer workforce.
Yeah, a lot of it's voluntary.
Have used that ambulance though for it.
How many ambulances do we currently have?
2, from what I understand.
2? And are they both functioning well?
They're both 20 years old.
Okay,
mhm.
so that's what their concern is. They've got old ambulances and
Correct.
Old equipment to maintain.
Tough one.
This is an aside, but solid waste is not handled by the city anymore. Canyonlands handles it now, doesn't it?
It's a special services.
It's a special, that is, so, okay.
Yeah.
It's always been special services.
And I mean, it looks like the same amount as every year. It's like $400,000 that comes out for solid waste.
They upped our rates a lot. If you live in the city, it's like
Well,
double.
that's one,
that is interesting because that is a service that gets stress tested when we triple the size of our city. And we have a lot of non-paying users that use that service, so.
I think the important part is, remember, we need to look at this through the lens of mitigation.
The
Right.
impact of tourism.
Solid waste is absolutely one of them. Traffic is absolutely one of them.
Ambulance is one of them.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Water, what's the water?
I was on the state recommendations of what other counties in my research have been spending.
Is that gonna be like water usage and water reclamation
I don't-
and
we
like
have-
this
Correct,
sewage system and all of that too?
correct.
Which is gonna take another huge hit with the increase of population.
What, have we?
We haven't, no,
Yeah, I
but
was gonna
the,
say,
the other counties that are similar to us do throw a couple $100,000 usually into
I wonder where.
water reclamation and just sewage and stuff like that,
Water
so,
treatment.
yeah. Laura, you had your hand raised?
I'm not certain what point in the conversation this is appropriate, so if we want to move it later. In the conversation that the auditors had with us in July, they suggested that before this meeting, that we should have a full report of what was submitted to the state by the county, I think, a short time ago. I don't see any of that here, of what got submitted that is actually sitting in accounts that have been unspent over the multiple last 6 years. And they said that it was our responsibility then to look at those funds and possibly not even spend 63% on mitigation, that we have the option to. But if we wanted to spend more on promotion, we could. It was my hope that we didn't have to go that direction, that we could actually know what was sitting in the funds unspent. We spent $600,000 in 2020 because it was a pandemic and we didn't want to, for obvious reasons, but there was $8 million that was unspent. I would love to know, we're budgeting as if we have no money other than just projected in a downturn economy for what's coming up. Why do we not know what's going on, what's really in the accounts?
So we have requested you're talking about the year-end fiscal report to your team.
What was submitted from Gabe Wotech to the state to get funds potentially released?
So that report was finished the beginning of October, from my understanding. We have requested a copy of it. I've never received a copy of it. I've also requested to see the outstanding fund balances. I've never received a copy of that either. So yes, I agree with you. I don't know where the funds are or where they've been moved to, or what has been spent or not spent, or what is basically just sitting in the bank. That being said, we did build in additional advertising fund this year, over $1 million in advertising, like almost $1.6 million, I think, by the time you add in like social media, print, a new PR company. So if at the highest for the last 3 years was 250,000, I think we've actually spent in hard advertising. Understandably so, coming out of the pandemic, I get it. So we are definitely upping that amount this year and spelled out in the report. So whether we get the information we requested or not, we can't control that. We're a volunteer board. All we can do is just make sure that we're definitely spending the pennies as given the dollar amount to us. So I feel your pain, yes.
In January, we can relook at the budget.
Yeah, completely.
Did Gabe present that? I thought I remembered him presenting it to the commission.
He presented, he forwarded some of the documents. I don't know if it came directly through the commission email, and then it was forwarded up to the state. I recall.
Have we heard back from the state?
On that report, no, it's a report he provides them. But I don't think there was any, the audit didn't flag anything within that report. So there wasn't, like, for example, there wasn't an excess in the amount of funds that were required to be spent down.
So So what was requested, what was your request, Laura?
It's basically the year-end report that every county is required to report to the state that gives the breakdown of how TRT and TRCCA is spent. And then it also will show any fund balances by basically GL code of, so for instance, if OSTA was given $750,000, which they were, but their accounting shows they only spent $300,000, where's the other $450,000 sitting at? And how is that going to be spent? So that is all on record. That is in the quarterly filings. You can see it, but no one, and to my knowledge, no one in the public has yet seen the yearly report. What Gabe told me, which I get, is he was waiting for the internal audits to pass. So there's an internal audit that Grand County hires, and then there's a state auditor that checks the work. So it's a double check, but I haven't heard back on that at this point.
Your first request, will we submit it to the auditors? Stephen, is that not something we're able to share with the board this time?
I don't know if there's two different requests. I mean, we've got the items the auditors requested for why we spent funds on, for example, the time study, the flood. I think all of those things can be shared. I don't see why.
But I think this is different. isn't
Right,
it?
that's
Different.
yeah,
This
it's
is
a different report.
Year-end report sent to the state with funds balance, and it seems like I believe it, I'll go ask Gabe. Because I think, see so much, I thought it was posted in the agenda packet.
Is it, yeah, we've got the Grand County, is it the Larson Company one? Or is that the one you're thinking of, the binder? No, okay.
No, he has to send us a separate report.
Okay. Any other questions, thoughts? Board members? Rebecca, anything from you?
I don't think can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't have any questions.
That is it.
That's it? Okay.
That's one of them.
So it's on the October 1st, 2024 commission meeting minutes. If it's the schedule of expenditures for TRT or tourism tax revenues for the year ending in December 31st, 2023.
Correct.
Okay, so I don't know how you guys want me to share this, but if you go to the commission agenda, it should be on the October 1st, 2024, and then it's on item 7.
Does it have fund balances on there?
Oh, this is all this.
But we want the fund balance.
Yeah, it's the fund balance part that I think everybody's
Well, it
curious
says
about.
TRT total reserve balance.
Yeah, and it's there. It just doesn't break it down.
I think it might on these other pages. If we could pull, I don't know, I'm not connected to your guys' meeting.
Ben?
I'm sorry.
Can you go to the clerk first?
If we
Yes.
could share.
Pull the
this.
They
agenda,
were just very specific about
October 14th, you said?
October
how
1st.
those fund balances should be
It's
reflected.
gonna be item 7.
And how,
Agenda. Yeah, thank you, because I
Yeah.
thought, I think I saw it.
how there's certain
It's
amounts
under
that
2023 TRT.
are not allowed to
expenditure
be
report.
held in reserve beyond
X amount of
any
time.
of those. So it just seems to me that we are dealing with a lot more dollars, but we don't know. They suggested that we should have all of that data before we make any of these decisions.
And that being said, that is 2023, and we're getting ready for projected 2025. So as for what we've been tasked to do by the state, I get that point, but we have a dollar amount, and I just want to make sure that regardless of what was spent or what not was spent previously, I just want to make sure that this year we've got our numbers down.
Expenditure report, Stephen?
Yeah, I think that's it.
On the first.
Sharon?
So because I would have a conflict of interest in suggesting, can we give the MIC more money than what's been given the last how many ever years? I mean, is there a
Isn't
reason
that-
it has to be the exact same amount every year?
It's a contract, isn't it? Don't we have to renegotiate? And we want to renegotiate.
That shouldn't be, I mean, our contract is for our lease.
Oh, okay. I thought the lease was part of the lease.
Well,
was
the
money.
lease is, you know,
I mean, I would think that we can make recommendations, whether the commissioner's gonna listen to it or not.
Yeah. You
Is-
can recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was
I
like,
have to
that's why I was
say
saying, if
vote
you
on
could
that.
choose a number,
right.
if you wanna
Well, you
write
know,
it down
you're
on a
gonna start-
napkin and slide it across
You're
the
gonna
table to
start
me,
all at
we could do
100
that
grand.
too.
And you have paid advertising at 1.3 plus 100 grand, so that's the 1.4. I mean, and we're doing a lot of other advertising over here. I'm assuming, just assuming our constituents in the county
So if you had
would
more
rather
money-
have money into the MIC to help, because that's mitigation too, because we do all that, than more money advertising, because you have money advertising.
I would say it
both.
would be very safe to take that 1.3 million under TRCCA, take 300,000 of that and slide it towards the MIP.
Wow.
Personally,
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't have a problem doing that because I think you guys do an amazing job. And I talk to people every day that check into my lodge and tell me they've been there and how great your team is and how, same with trail ambassadors. Trail ambassadors too. I think they do an amazing job. And those are the things that we need to support.
I can navigate wherever people want.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in the lease about what we get from the county.
Okay, I-
That was the old lease that was never really legal. I'll look through it again. I have it right here on my phone. Well, this is the previous one, not the new one, but it's just basically had the dates changed.
Do we know what the leftover balance? Because in this is 2023, right? So there's the.
You would have to go, the only way you're gonna see is if you go to the quarterly financial
Oh, okay.
reports, we'd have to go in
Into that.
to the state system and look at the quarterly reports that Gabe has to upload, which does break it down by GL.
Okay, it is in the lease. It does say the county shall reimburse tenant 55,300 whatever for the cost of salary and benefits for one-time employees. So could it be like, that would be part of here and then you could do extra for other things?
We can make any recommendation we want.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it falls under several different buckets.
Like, we could do that, but I think the closer it is to something that is doable.
Yeah.
The more it's going to pass.
Mary, what would you think would be doable? What do you think the commissioners would,
I don't know. I'm sorry, but I'd have to see the whole
big
thing.
picture?
Yeah, I just.
Okay.
I couldn't
If
say
you had a
anything.
phone number, what would it be?
I don't know where
You
we're
got it up at
Is it a different, is it an
10,
additional
20, 30,
body?
40,
Is it
50,000.
pay?
So 55,376.
And 33 cents?
more staffing, more, like,
How much for a phone?
This might be my doctor.
okay.
She's calling somebody.
Doctor, how much?
She's phoning a friend right now.
Cab, what is the cab one? Really cab?
Use one of your.
Use one of your
That's no, I
lifeline
don't wanna
lines.
give out their phone number. That's all I'm saying.
Cash tab, that's what
Okay, gang, in
moving forward.
yeah, let's, I mean, I think everything other than adding Mick in is pretty much good. But for mitigation, I know that it was important to this board that everybody wanted to assign a dollar amount. So we all agreed we weren't gonna just say spend 5 million however you want. We wanted to kind of divide it up a little bit more and make an actual dollar recommendation or a percentage recommendation, as Mary said. I think that's a good thing too. So, you know, that's the whole 5,084,000 is going into mitigation. We can say 80% is going to go to law enforcement and search and rescue. We can say 10% is going to go to waste management. 10% we could explore something having to do with water reclamation. How do you guys want to do it?
Historically, the sheriff's department has been funded through these tourism funds, all except for $100,000 per the auditors.
Correct.
That's our whole budget.
Well,
So
4
if we
million of
want-
it.
If we want, well, when I was running, it was 5 million.
80%
That's when I
is
did research.
4,067,000.
I just threw that out. as
I
a
know,
number.
I just, I,
Cassie's
percentages-
quick with the math over there.
So if we want the money to go other places, then we'll just, have less towards the others, is fine.
Well, I know the Budget Advisory Board, that each organization, and at the commission meeting, each organization comes and presents what they want and why they want it.
Mhm.
So that it's not just arbitrary, that it's being,
So Monday is, I'll just let you know, Monday is the presentation for TRT at 10 a.m. So we have been invited as the board to come and be present. If anyone would like to come, I'm planning on being there.
When is it?
This coming Monday at 10 a.m.
Oh,
So we need to have this letter done by the time we walk out the door. So,
Does the
Hell or
MIT,
high
does
water.
the MIT present at that mitigation? Do they present? Is that one of the presenting
I
organizations?
do not know.
Mary, do you
All I know is
no,
that
because they don't appear, it's
Okay.
not
It-
direct.
Brian, if we just put either percentages or dollar amounts next to each of these 5, I think you're good to go.
yeah, I agree. That's why I put it in here like this. I think it's easier and then it just opens it up a little bit. It just sends a message that, yes, we would like this spread out. So percentage wise, what's everybody comfortable with?
can I ask one question? So,
Absolutely.
the sheriff's department is pretty dependent upon TRT funds. So
Over
if we,
90%.
Just come out of the general.
so would they have, they
They
would still
all
have
will
access
be
to
fully
more funds?
funded.
Okay,
It
that's
just
my
won't be only tourism paying the bill.
Okay, that's totally fine. I just want to make sure we're not
There-
saying,
the
good
word-
luck,
no,
sheriff's
no,
department.
heavens,
No,
it's just not tourism.
Yeah.
Alex?
Can I just make a suggestion? I know you want to do, or thinking percentages, but with the EMS requesting, it'd be like a one-time, like 1 year request of a
Mhm.
very large amount. So I guess
I mean, we could carve that out.
my thought is to carve that out first and then percentage after that.
Okay.
If everyone else would agree
That
to.
sounds good.
So we're gonna buy them an ambulance.
I agree with that too. Give
Okay.
them what they want and then take that out of the rest.
Okay. So we're saying 380K.
350, 338 is their request.
I'm sorry, what was it? 350,
338.
338?
What percentage of
What
that?
percentage of that is?
We can put numbers. We don't have to.
Yeah, no, we don't, no, I mean, no, it's easy. If I take it out, then I just do percentages after that.
The rest?
It's fine, yeah.
Okay.
So we can very clearly spell that out. So let's just go backwards. Water reclamation, what do we think?
Well, I wonder, I'm gonna be the devil advocate here,
Mhm.
they never come and ask for anything or presented anything.
Okay.
So I think if they have not asked and presented, because the word goes out, they send it out and say, come and do your presentation, and no one from the sewer plant or the groundwater and sewer or anything has come and asked, and we have just a limited amount of money.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not comfortable just giving somebody money without them saying, we want to use it for this.
I get that. I also think that, like anything, Mary, I think the feedback that at least I have, I can't speak for anybody else on the board, is that people have been reaching out, asking us to make sure that it's in there. Like, it seems like, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. So when we went to the UTA conference, one of the things that we saw in the presentation was tourism works in the, in every county. So we were like, yeah, we should do something like that for here. And it was part of the agenda last month, but unfortunately I couldn't make it. Got with our PR company, talked to our legal firm, partnered up with UTA, partnered up with the state tourism board, put together, great slides based on just basically Gabe's report of this is the stuff that was spent on TRT according to the 2023 report, and sent it out to, I would say probably 80% of the hospitality tourism people in Grand County, just as like, hey, tourism works in Grand County, and this is how it was spent. We chose a date that we were going to post it. out of 92 people in the email, 4 businesses reposted it.
I
4.
point posted it.
We posted it on our social. We got 29,000 people that viewed our Instagram posts. We got 17,000 people that viewed our Facebook post, and only all of the tourists all of the tourists who follow us, who have stayed with us on our Instagram account, we had a couple postings. People that either messaged us or actually posted in the post that they were so appreciative of seeing how their money was being spent in Grand County.
Yeah.
And they thought it was great. I got tons of people other business owners that basically called and said, sorry, we didn't do it. We were worried about backlash, and we were worried how it would be perceived, and that we're glad that this information is getting out because the public doesn't know it. And I feel like that kind of ties into this, right? That we have a responsibility to make sure that of these funds that we're collecting, that they're going towards mitigation. And I think that if 90% of those funds are just going towards EMS and Sheriff's Department, which I don't get me wrong, absolutely. But there's other people that need the money as well.
Okay, going back to the water.
Mhm.
Where does that money go to? What organization? Are we giving it to Grand Water and Sewer, or are we giving it to the?
I think that
I mean, where does it go?
our recommendation would be that we
No
would just like to,
organization.
we would
Am
like
I making
to,
sense?
we would like, no, I get that. I would say that we are just saying that we would like to see the county commissioners would look at this and say, of these other departments that are in water reclamation or water, whatever, that we would like to see some of this money spent in that arena. Whether you guys do or not is up to you,
Well, I
right?
mean, we're really concerned about water. We're spending
Yeah.
lots of money on studying it, on making sure.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a big deal. It's just that I don't know what we would do with a recommendation that came to us that we want $100,000, $200,000 spent on water.
Mhm.
Well, we can't spend that has to go to the entity. That doesn't stay with the commission. That doesn't stay with the county. So what entity gets that money? That's where I'm confused. That's where I don't think right now, for next year, if we get some entity, somebody that's working on water coming and saying, we need this much money, then we can say, okay, because otherwise EMS goes to the EMS district, law enforcement goes to our law enforcement, solid waste goes to Canyonland Solid Waste Authority. Roads pretty much has, because of the way we've redone them,
Mhm.
they really don't need our TRT. They're funded very well through the new tax that comes through the gasoline.
Okay.
That was enacted how many years ago? I'd have to go back. So I guess that's my thing is I'm not saying it's not a good idea to give money to the water, but this year I don't know who, and how would we know what they were going to do with it?
Okay, so your suggestion would be then we just keep it to emergency EMS, law enforcement, and waste removal.
Yes.
And search and rescue.
Well, it's search and rescue, but they're
They're-
public law enforcement. I mean,
As
they go into the sheriff's department.
as a portion of
Yeah.
the law, those sheriff's departments, just like emergency management
Okay.
and the jail. All those things, they're all under
Mhm.
his budget, the sheriff's budget, so.
So if we cross off water and road, how do you guys want to allocate law enforcement? We're carving out $350,338 for emergency EMS. So waste removal traditionally gets $400,000 and law enforcement gets the rest.
To be able to lower prices for people in town. We need them more. I don't know. Or would it stay the same?
Yeah, solid waste just went through a restructuring, right?
They're in the process, yes.
Yeah, so they're.
The goal is to lower the cost.
Mhm.
That's the ultimate goal.
Mhm.
I mean,
It's
do you
just
want to
a-
allocate additional funds to look at a recycling program? I mean, we
Well,
get our,
that's part of the solid waste payroll.
yeah, but I don't know that it's very effective.
It just costs more to have recycling. I canceled my recycling because it's another $20 a month that I can't afford to get my
When you can
recycling
do it,
every
when
2
you can
weeks
do
when
it
I
for
can
free.
bring to the recycling center for free.
Yeah.
But the price of the
And it's a
trash.
better form, sort separated is much better than single stream, so taking it to the recycle center is better. So I do too,
But
but yet, yeah,
it's confusing. But check your bill.
So 400,000
They
was
still charge.
the past.
Couple of years, 400,000 waste mitigation,
That's what we've.
solid
done.
waste mitigation.
That's what we've done historically is 400,000.
that's what they'd ask for again this year, I believe.
That's for the same amount.
So why don't we give EMS what they need and give the rest to law enforcement? We don't have to worry about all the details.
You want to make a motion?
I make a motion to appropriating the $350,000 and change for a new ambulance to emergency EMS and the balance towards law enforcement.
Okay. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Rebecca seconds. All in approval? Aye,
Aye.
aye, aye. 100% approval. Done. Proud of you guys. And Mary's definitely in politics. She got in there and got it done.
Well, I just thought if you threw that out, because I think the commission at this point really recognizes and we want to improve our relationship. So we didn't want to always say, no, we don't want to do water when you ask for it.
So when people are thirsty, Mary said, no, just kidding. Okay, guys, so that only leaves Mick adding into TRCCA. Anyone want to put a motion on the board?
Well, okay, here, I was just kind of looking. In the MIC lease, it says that the 55,375 is for one full-time employee for their salary and their benefits. That's it.
How many employees you have?
I have, well, 3 a day. 3 employees a day, so it's, but it's not, it's Rachel, Scott.
Full-time positions.
Full-time positions I have, well, Rachel and Scott would be 1, because they're
They're half
part-time.
people.
Yeah, they're half people. And then.
Rachel and Scott.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
So, well, because some of them work full-time, but they might work at Arches too. So,
Right.
and then Shar, and I could say Shar and I'd say probably 4 full-time people. Well, then plus me, but my salary is split between all those stores.
Everyone makes a similar equivalent.
Yeah.
So we're talking an additional $240,000 to add 4 bodies.
But there's the other thing, we would love to be able to remodel or renovate the restrooms.
Okay.
Because that is so bad, the plumbing's so bad in there. I mean,
It's a
we're
major tourist destination.
constantly,
Everybody goes there.
Sean with the county would
Literally goes
love
there.
it if we would do that. And I, just off the top of my head, 200 grand for that. That's just off the top of my head. But I mean, the whole plumbing, you should come in and see how it's done. It's crazy when you have to try to go turn something off. Yeah.
Well, I think that's an establish and promote and a mitigate.
Yeah, completely.
So.
Flushing a toilet is definitely a mitigation.
So
It's gonna put stress on the water.
So where would it be coming from? What would we be?
TRCCA.
But I mean, which part of the TRCCA if we added that?
We would be
Just
taking it out of the
reducing-
paid advertising. That's
Just
currently
reducing
budgeted.
some paid.
Reducing that.
Okay.
Which would make the county people living here happier.
Well, if you use the 55 that's already in your lease.
That's in the lease, so that's set.
And that sounds like it's coming out of promotion. How about we mitigate with toilet flushing and do a contribution of mitigation towards remodeling bathrooms that's a community good? That's not really promoting, it's flushing.
Now.
And a lot of locals use that,
And it's-
which is a mitigation issue. If you go by Tina Cannon's, who's using it? I think Lori's got a good point.
Now, the only other question that would be, would the county be doing this upgrade, or would CNHA, hiring the contractor and all that stuff?
You gotta figure that out with your lawyer. That's not us.
You guys, it would just be providing the funds to you folks, but I'd have to look at your guys' lease on when you guys are doing.
It just has to, I think it
improvements.
has to be approved by the county.
Yeah, I would say if we're allocating funds to it, it'd be more of a headache for us to do that. We'd make more work if the county insisted on being the parties that were contracting.
Right.
So probably it'd be cutting a check to you guys,
RFPs.
but then making sure that you guys follow up and complete all the obligations, and then whatever improvements, obviously, that you make, you forfeit them if you ever left the building.
Mhm.
But I don't think the county commissioners may feel otherwise, but I don't think they want to add on additional burden,
Right.
cost, time, energy to
Well,
find
no, they would,
contractors.
because that's what we've done in the past, is don't give so much money, and then that's,
Mhm.
we don't, and then it's their responsibility.
Okay, so then, to go back then, so then what we are looking at is if you feel it's gonna be $200,000 to do.
Well, that's just off the top of my head. I have no idea what that would be,
Okay, well, let's.
but
The thing is,
I'm
like,
highly confident that if it went, like if the remodel went over 200 grand, CNHA would probably pay for it.
Why don't we start with 100? In January, when you get a bid, we can revisit it, but at least it'll be in the bid of, let's put some money mitigation towards redoing the bathrooms, and then get like solid numbers, and then just adjust them.
Sound good?
That'd require the commission to adjust it.
yeah.
Mitigation.
I think,
Yeah.
I know it's gonna be over 100
I
grand,
think that's a mitigation.
just plumbing alone.
Well, the thing is,
would be that.
if you go big now, then and you don't spend it all, then it sits in a reserve
That's
for the
fine.
following year
Mhm.
for your next upgrade.
Yeah.
Right?
So then,
Well,
what are you-
they'd probably
Well, I
want to see
don't
it
know
spent.
if that's going to, I don't know.
But we could always return, we could always,
No, I'm just
We're
talking, I'm trying to look
TRCCA,
at,
right?
correct,
because it's a nonprofit, CNH,
but we don't
I
own the
make a
building.
motion
but you don't own the building.
It's county building.
to
So this is an
modify
upgrade
our
to the
funds.
county building, which is by law able to have money spent on it.
Yes.
so we're gonna say out of the TRCCA,
Mhm.
we're gonna carve out $200,000 for mitigation for the MIC to do capital improvements,
On the toilets specifically.
specifically on the
The
restrooms,
restrooms,
the public restrooms.
yes, public restrooms.
It's a county property.
Yeah, it's county property. It's not
Okay.
Community
ours,
good.
And then,
even though we pay all the bills.
And you
Theirs.
perhaps would want to caveat it that it has to be completed next calendar year.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Well, if we have the expenditures made and completed.
So do I need to put all that?
Completed in 2025.
yeah, we're,
Yes,
well,
2025.
since we're talking about TRCCA, let's put this all together in there at one time.
Let's take it.
So then, also for the MIC,
Mhm.
do you want additional bodies? How many?
At least one more,
So another $55,000
sure,
FTE.
for another employee.
On
So,
top of the other 55.
okay,
'Cause
So
the
we're saying that we're
one
gonna
is in the
reduce-
MIC lease, that
we're gonna
that's on
reduce the
there.
advertising of $1.306 million out of TRCCA by $200K for capital improvements to specifically the public restrooms, and then $55K for one more FTE equivalent for the MIC.
So I'm
Well,
confused.
but-
I will admit, if we take it out of paid advertising, it's not mitigation.
Because we
Yeah,
didn't
it's
put, we didn't put any mitigation.
This is
Well, we don't
mitigation.
really have a mitigation percentage, different
No,
rules.
it's different for TRCCA.
So
So you can
then,
spend however you want, but you can clearly say it's mitigation.
So so we got the 200K for the restrooms, and then it's gonna be 110,000,
Yeah,
right, for the
10,000.
employee?
but that,
But do you,
but that would be TRT.
no,
No,
ours has always come out of TRCC.
so does anybody want to make a motion? It should probably not be Sharon.
I
You should
make
probably
a
recuse
motion
yourself.
to reduce the support and improve technology at Star Hall down to $50,000
Okay,
and increase the MIC mitigation to $200,000 for repairing the public toilets to be completed by calendar year 2025.
Okay. Anyone second that?
And add another 55,000
Well, I
for
would have
an employee,
Yeah.
add totaling 110,000 for 2 full-time employees.
Okay.
Okay, anyone second that?
Square.
So we would just propose to reduce the technology at Star Hall down to 50 and take $200,000 out of paid advertising of TRCCA and put it towards public toilets.
Is there a reason why we don't want to give Star Hall 100K?
Well, and historically, we've given them several
I don't think they've ever
Not
spent it.
bumps.
I thought we did just upgrade some of their stuff
Yeah, they have, because I can't remember what, but they, I
on their
thought
technology.
or something, I don't know, or was it,
The last
I thought it was
few years.
Wi-Fi.
I think
dude,
Wi-Fi. we
I thought it was
were trying to work
Wi-Fi.
there.
The
And it
HVAC
seems like there was
system.
something that
Yeah.
had to be
It has
done.
nothing to do with technology, it was the HVAC, AC situation, which was necessary, but the technology there, which is used often, has not been upgraded as we've discussed for a couple of years.
Right.
and a
I
long time.
withdraw my
Sorry.
request, and you guys can sort that out.
So if we took it from paid advertising, that would leave us with 900,000 in paid advertising,
Correct.
100,000 for Star Hall, 200 for the Mick restrooms, and then 110
For employees.
for employees.
Correct.
Ask one more question.
Sure.
What specifically does the paid advertising for the TRCCA go to? Like, what
However,
would we be cutting?
however, Ben's team wants to spend it.
How do you guys feel about going down to 900,000 from 1.3 million for that?
I think these are good funds. Important pieces of our community.
But ultimately, it's our decision.
Oh, I was just wanting to know how it would impact them. That's
They have
why.
other
By,
money.
by statute, if we don't recommend it out of TRCCA funds, the commission is not allowed to choose it.
Oh,
The responsibility is here today.
Right, I just wanted to
I'd also
understand their
say-
impact.
It's a media buy, so we would just place a lower
I
buy.
would rather have a bigger buy.
So if we were running a digital ad through Meta, we would just reduce that spend. It's adjustable, so it's not like we'll throw any opportunity or.
Gotta be smart.
It's
Gotta be smart.
in 2019. We're not even at where we were in 2019, so I think we need to spend more money promoting Lola. But we also need toilets.
Can we add something in this letter that's gonna talk about what to do with the reserve balance?
Absolutely, we can do whatever we want.
So, I mean, Lori, there's 2.7 million sitting in reserve balance that,
So we should take a bit, how much,
so that we could allocate some of that towards paid media.
Say that needs to be
Great.
promotion, correct, to,
Those are all numbers that we kind of need
Yeah,
to have these discussions, but we
Well,
don't have them.
we-
so.
So
Yeah, we
should
do.
should,
we just looked at those.
I didn't look at them. I don't have any.
Ben had 'em up on the
no,
board.
it was up on the board.
I didn't see anything on the board. I'm sorry. I'm just
Ben, would you
dealing with
mind?
notes.
Thanks.
yeah, that 2.8.
2.8 reserve balance.
So if we want to specifically call out and say that we want paid advertising to match the 2019 budget of $2 million, we're saying paid advertising is going to be 900,000 is what we're saying, but we also recommend that the deficit be made up by the reserve balance to equal $2 million.
Sounds great.
sounds good,
Sound good?
sounds good.
Okay. So who wants to throw that together as Cass, I'm counting on you. You
You're
got the
counting on
numbers.
me to put that in a
Yep,
motion?
Yep.
Okay, well then I move that we support Star Hall with 100,000 and make with 200,000 for mitigation for restroom completion that has to be done by the end of the fiscal year. 110,000 for employees, 900,000 for the paid advertising, and then using the TRT reserve balance to make up the remaining funds for a total spend of 2 million for advertising.
Sounds good.
Second,
I will second the motion.
all in favor?
I
Aye. Done. Done. So proud of you guys.
And then Mark, the Sharon abstained.
Sharon was
Oh, Sharon abstained. Yeah, sorry,
I have
Sharon
to
abstained.
abstain.
Good job, Sharon. All right, so then we'll only leave, what was the last piece of, that we wanted to talk about something? The rec center. Rec center. We can also, you still got $2,820,000
Well, yeah.
in reserve
Reserve.
balance.
I'm wondering now that Tom's, we should check with the fire department because, you know, Moab Valley Fire Department will be taking over Thompson. So I don't even know if that money will be coming from.
So in their agreement with us, we cut them a check for $420,000. And they indicated that was the amount that they needed. But I don't know if they were including this amount of money coming in or not, but they'd indicated that they thought that the future taxes that would come in would be sufficient, plus the county's give of $420,000.
So if I understand, then that won't be needed.
I don't want to speak for them, but
I
that
don't
was,
either, you know, that's still in the process of happening, but that might free up that kind of money for something else.
Okay.
But we don't, you know.
We don't know yet, but at least.
That would be nice.
Yeah, no, it would be, but, I mean, we can, what's everybody comfortable with? Like, so everything that I've seen for the rec center is basically it's about $1 million drain on the city, correct?
How much is the bond for us? Do you know?
the city's bond on that.
No, ours that we pay, what portion? We pay the CIB, you know, because we had a loan,
Yeah,
the CIB loan. And so the agreement between county and city is county would pay off the CIB loan and they would manage the recreation center. That was the original agreement. And I just don't know how much that loan is.
So out of the, well, what's TRT? Can we spend any of the reserve on the rec center?
Ooh, that would be something for somebody else to answer. I'm
But
not nervous to touch anything.
I don't know if TRT could go to the rec center. Can TRT go to the rec center?
I think only as mitigation,
Only
It's
correct?
only mitigation, yeah.
And I don't think we can spend mitigation from past year, spend money on mitigation from past years because.
Well, we've spent all our mitigation.
Exactly,
We've never
but yeah,
had nothing in reserve for mitigation.
can go to mitigation, it all needs to go to promotion legally.
But I don't think it's,
Well, we could always take more out of mitigation off the TRCCA and put more from the reserve.
Technically, I guess, I would defer to our lawyer.
just run it by me again, I'm sorry.
I said, can't we take more out of the mitigation? Or on mitigation, what part of the TRCCA? The TRCCA advertising, that, can we take more out of that for the
rec center,
and
add more reserve
add
balance
more reserve balance into that?
to make
For
up.
advertising and promotion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So then what's the number that's gonna go to rec center?
Whereas Jason,
Mary had asked, what's the bond number? Does anybody know?
I'm gonna text a friend.
Call for it.
You're gonna use one of your.
Are you gonna use
I
one
swear
of
to God, I
yours?
swear to God, if there's a bunch of models that come in here with steel suitcases and line up against the wall.
We should do a skit.
In the break, something I forgot to
We
update.
can have you star in it.
We showed the French delegation the topo map that we were given, that Sharon framed, and they were all very impressed.
Aww.
Oh,
I told her to send the GPS.
thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
If she needs a picture of it.
Ben thought I did it for him, but I didn't.
how we.
I knew the other billboard.
I need like a phone number.
What you hunting for, Ben?
No, I mean, so sure. Like usually.
They had those all over their table on their, you could land a plane on their conference table, and they had them all.
Because otherwise we're gonna have to go down there. And
And this letter's gotta be. signed
So
to
while
the
they're trying to find those numbers, can we talk about the recreation film production conventions?
Sure. What would you like to talk about?
Huh?
What would you like to talk about?
I don't know, just,
Do we need to approve it as is or change it?
You can make recommendations, you can change it. This is what we had discussed, and this is what is in the letter. As of right now, that fits the 1/5 thing.
And do we need to approve it or can it just?
Well, we need to, once we get
Okay,
everything
then
done,
we'll approve the whole-
we need to approve the whole letter.
Okay.
You sure?
Let's do this. This is good.
But while we're waiting to get that number for the rec center, do you guys want to talk about letter A, recreation, film production and conventions, any changes anyone would like to see there?
Was that 387 the salary request for trails and film commission?
Based on what was requested previously and then what you're budgeted at, yes.
So not an additional.
No, but specifically for film, we did carve out 5K additional support for resource directory. We did carve out 20K for travel, industry, stuff you need to do. We did carve out 80K for a new car. And then the Trail to Tomorrow, according to the meetings I've been involved in, there's gonna be eventually 5 trail to, well, not trail
Film
to,
trail, not.
film trail.
Yeah.
Placards that will be in Grand County, hopefully within the next year,
Correct, we have one
which-
coming.
which are paid for by a grant for the first 3. However, it does not cover the cost of installation.
Correct.
So I know at Red Cliffs, we're paying our installation, which is costing us $7 grand. So I figured 10 grand to be, hopefully the city gets a better rate than what we do to install them. Should work for that. And then we had talked about, repeatedly it's come up that OSTA needs an additional 100K a year in advance to be able to actually get like a Ferris wheel, the zipper, stuff like that. This has nothing to do with fireworks, has nothing to do with whatever. Literally, it's $75,000 to get those kind of rides to make it an actual fair, and that they also would like to get better on the, I forget what the professional rodeo circuit's called, PRCCA. And that if they had an additional 25K, they could get a larger group of people to come to Grand County, Moab, July 4th weekend when it's 110 degrees to attend the fair and make it more robust. And I think that's an easy ask of 100K of money well spent under rec and convention and film.
What was the agency that came out to this time, the most recent time? The rodeo, name of the rodeo?
No.
But they did an arguably better job according to everybody that I talked to. So.
You buying a Ferris wheel? Or rent?
And 100K?
No, believe it or not, it's expensive to get a Ferris wheel out here.
It'd be
So-
great to buy a Ferris wheel, just leave it, so it's just, we have a constant Ferris wheel.
Well, I was
here.
gonna
noticed
say,
That would be a great idea.
What's the difference? Costs how much to rent versus buy? I bet it's.
Your insurance rates would go through the
$1
roof.
million to $6 million is for an amusement park size Ferris wheel.
Nice.
How much?
$1 to $6
million.
million.
We're talking about buying a Ferris wheel?
Putting a Ferris wheel out, I know it's a permanent.
Oh, no.
Can we make it like the
We
eye?
have too many other things.
Yeah, every city has an eye now.
Yeah.
How about we put it like,
The eye of Moab.
we can
Oh,
put it
help
right
our
next to
dark
the,
The
put it right
atomic
next to the
arena.
cable car.
Sky Ferris wheel.
That's-
Yep.
take that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the atomic arena, that's the,
Yeah, the atomic.
Yeah, I like it.
okay, is everybody good with A?
We have
Yes.
nothing back from Jason.
They're just talking about A.
Oh, shoot, this is misnumbered. We go from A to C.
A to C.
A, B, and then C. Okay, tourism expenditures, I think everybody's good with that, correct? Okay, do we have a number for the rec center? No, yes, Bueller?
Just what is the rec consultant, not mitigation.
No, what we were thinking is taking it out of that paid advertising for mitigation under TRCCA for the rec center and then putting more reserve balance into the paid advertising. Because we can't spend that on mitigation. Did anyone find the number? What the
You can't
bond
find it.
was?
Because other people are even.
Can't find it. So if we're gonna put it in, we have to put a number in,
And rec is for mitigation.
but it's,
For
yeah,
capital improvements because of the mold in the walls and stuff.
So how much of that 28 have we done already? 2 million.
so of the amount that we have in rec film and conventions, if we put any in there, it's coming out of that 597, 271. So it means we're either taking out of the trail program, we're taking away from the
No.
film commission.
Can't we put it underneath the TRCCA?
Oh, in TRCCA, yeah, absolutely,
That
100%.
$1 million that we pulled from that to get this to
So-
200 million.
So
Okay,
if
so
you,
we still have plenty, we could still, I mean, we could do them 200 grand.
Yeah.
For upgrades, for the rec center.
Yeah, that's the funny, because that's just the number I got from Jason.
Oh, 200 grand.
you funded from?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so
And
then
then,
do you want
and then replace more.
Taylor, maybe you've heard of it.
So.
do you want to make a,
It's gonna be 700K.
Recommendation, sure.
yes,
We want to get it to 200.
this is the final thing, the final thing.
Okay, so.
Outside the reserve.
Jason said he wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Okay, I make,
That's where, that's.
You only have to do
That's
rec.
where we would
Okay.
be
It's just the rec center.
Okay, guys. All right, I got a proposal. I could make a motion to allocate 200,000 to the rec center out of TRCCA funds for upgrades and continue to have our paid advertising at 2 million with the reserve balance, whatever the numbers work out to be.
1.3 million.
Okay.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all right, fantastic. So I'm going to make a motion for the entire letter. I've got notes, and then we just need to pass the letter. Then I can type out the differences, sign it, and get it where it needs to be. Okay, so
You're gonna read out every amount when you go over the letter?
I will read every amount so you have it on record, and I'm gonna start. So for our mitigation, for our Tribal Council Advisory Board, budget priorities for expenditures for fiscal year 2025, we are making the following recommendations based on the numbers that were provided to us by Gabe, who gave us a TRT collected amount of revenue of $8,071,230, which if we were to take 63% of that number, it would be, the estimate is $5,889,900. $84,875,000, or 63%. We are saying that we are specifically going to carve out $350,338 to emergency EMS to fund another ambulance for Grand County. The remainder balance from that $5,084,875 would then 100% go to law enforcement and rescue. Okay, that is item number one. Item number two, on establish and promote. Item A, recreation, film production, and convention, which is out of establish and promote. We are saying that the 37%, which we could spend up to, would be $2,986,355. If we took the 1/5 rule into effect and applied it to rec, film, and convention, that gives us an amount of $597,271, which we're saying our 2025 priorities are A, salaries and overhead for the Grand County Active Trails and Transportation Department and the Moab to Monument Valley Film Commission at $387,000. We're saying we would like to see the additional items added to the Moab to Monument Valley Film Commission budget in the amount of $5K for an updated production resource directory, $20K for familiarization tours and industry and travel representation at industry conferences, 3, a new vehicle for the Film Commission of up to $80K, and then an additional $10K for film trail installation being co-sponsored by grant money through the state. That is specifically just the installation. D, we would like to spend $100,000 for OSTA, for Grand County Fair Rodeo Fund, which is separate from what they normally get to do what they're currently doing for their program. It is specific to bring in fair rides and a fairway, which they estimate to be about $75,000, and then to go with what's the rodeo? PRCCA, and give a $25,000 purse away, which would help bring in summer tourism to the tune of $100,000.
Brian, can I ask a question on that point?
Yes.
You did not specifically call it OSTA in that point, just the purpose of the funds. Do you feel that's sufficient to what the board's saying?
I can change it to add that.
It's up to you. I just wanted to make sure.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I can change it and put it in there. Is everybody okay with that? Because it's specific to them, and we'll tie under rec and conventions, which are both covered under that. Letter C, which needs to be changed to letter B. Tourism expenditures projected at $2,389,084. We are saying that carving out the $597 for film, rec, and convention, the remaining balance would be $2,389. Our 2025 priorities in order of importance for us are salaries, million, are A, salaries and overhead of the tourism division of the Economic Development Department at $400K, new branding for Moab at $775,000, creative video assets to add to the library of $100K, paid advertising specific to targeting weddings, $300,000, billboards, which includes new creative for the billboards, as well as leases on the existing billboards of $80K, international paid media of $90K, crowd drift at $35K, PR firm and paid social posts, meaning that is to hire a PR firm and then we're estimating that to be about $80,000, and then to give a nice budget of $25,000 for paid social media of a total of $105K, travel trade B&B at $40K, the guest guide at $8.1K, printed mats, which is the adventure guide and the Moab guide at $40K, professional service to include Go Utah Leads, tourism, economics, GovOS at $120K, data gathering tools to include but not limited to Star Data, Symphony, Zartico, or other geofencing data, VisaView and eProval at $153K, professional memberships and industry subscriptions to include but not limited to Utia, UADMO, Grand Circle, IITA, TTRA, EDCU, Wall Street Journal, Travel and Leisure Magazine, Condé Nast Magazine, Outside Magazine, etc. at 7K. And then travel trade shows to include all professional memberships of the above listed organizations, as well as international conferences attendance at 76K. We want to carve out 15K for FAM tours for next year, and then 45K for websites. Finally, we get down to item 3, or TRCCA funds, which came in, according to Gabe, is going to be estimated at $1,406,021. We are saying of that amount, we are carving out the following. We are taking out, under the lens of mitigation, $200,000, which will go to the MIC to carve out for restroom improvements. We are carving out an additional $110K for 2 FTE equivalents at the MIC. We are then stating that we are going to also take $200K out and put that into the rec center for mitigation as well, for improvements down there. Also, Star Hall will have $100K for support and improved technology, and then the remaining balance, which would be roughly $800,000, would be paid advertising. We will then put a caveat in that we would like to see the TRT reserve balance that was issued in the October 1st audit report letter to the state, that we reach an overall spend in advertising to 2019 levels, which was $2 million. That is everything. That is the motion I'm putting forward. Do we have a second?
I second.
Sharon seconds. All in favor? Aye. Rebecca?
Sorry, it takes me a minute to unmute. Aye.
Perfect. We're, congratulations, team. You got it done.
I have to go, but before I go, I want to say this was the most robust, best job I've ever seen the Travel Council do on creating their budget. I congratulate you and commend you. That was, there was a lot of thought put into it, a lot of discussion. It was good.
Nice.
This is what I've been hoping to see, so thank you.
Kudos, team. Ben, I will type this up tonight. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And then I'll scan it and sign it, and then
You're coming Monday.
I'm gonna come Monday.
See you then.
Okay.
I'll walk into the 10 o'clock. I'll be here.
10 minutes.
Okay. 10, he said TRT is 10, so
I think they're gonna present their forecast or something. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't want to sit there for 5.
Is that here?
It'll be here publicly. It's public
Just
meeting.
4? Okay.
You know the thing too, it is public meeting, you could Zoom it.
Oh, true. I could do that. Okay. I might do that.
I mean, it should be Zoom, it should be.
It is, it's always
Is it posted as a?
Yep, yeah, I was noticed earlier.
Because I mean, working there until I gotta come over.
Okay. Good job, team. I'm proud of you guys. With that, make a motion to close the meeting. Second. Cassie, all in favor? Aye. Done. Boom.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job.
You better fix that hand dryer, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll get
You
ready.
better work, man.
I think I want the jet